this geography snippet, we're going to look at mass movement. Mass movement is a process that causes coastlines to retreat rapidly. The reason they retreat rapidly is because large amounts of material is able to collapse and move down a slope very quickly, and that can then be eroded and carried away by the sea. This rock and loose material that moves down the slope often does so because the slope itself becomes saturated or full of water. This acts as a lubricant, causing the cliff to collapse. Now typically there are 3 different types of mass movement, 3 different ways in which a cliff might collapse. We're going to look at the 3 of them now: cliff slides, rockfalls and cliff slumping. First of all, let's have a look at cliff slides. So cliff sliding happens when you have a weakness within a piece of rock, and that weakness within a piece of rock, or maybe it's a change in the rock material itself, allows water to seep into it. And over time, this becomes saturated or full up with water, and as it does that, it becomes heavier, and eventually what will happen is that along this line, which has had the water seeping into it, the cliff will actually slide down the slope. Okay? When it does this, it does it in a straight line. Okay, so the whole block moves down under the weight of gravity. We then have cliff slumping. So slumping is slightly different in it's the actual shape of the movement. Okay, so again, you have a cliff, you have a line into which you have water saturating, causing some lubrication, the force of gravity downwards. But what actually happens is that when it gets to the point where the cliff collapses, it actually does so in a rotation. Okay, so the material kind of rotates down the slope, and this is sometimes called rotational slip. Okay, so rotational slip or cliff slumping, and that's slightly different to the slides, which descends in a straight line. The third type of mass movement we're going to look at is rockfall. Okay, so rockfall, again, you have your cliff, you have rain and wind attacking the cliff, and it becomes fractured. Okay, you get lots of gaps and things. You might get hydraulic action getting in there, and then what actually happens with this one is that you have larger amounts of bigger material which actually fall and crumble off of the cliff. So the cliff itself breaks, and again, gravity moves it down to the bottom of the cliff. In each of these 3 cases, the material which comes off of the cliff because of mass movement will be carried away or transported further along the coast. And of course, we know that the method of transport when we're talking about coastal geography is longshore drift. Okay, so that is a little bit on mass movement, on the 3 types of mass movement that you will find at the coast.